One really wonders where people get their information on the conflict in the Middle East from. So many conspiracy theories abound, many of which demonize Israel, making it look as if it were a rogue country that acts with impunity and hides behind America. Certainly, this was the impression that was created on Clement Manyathela's show on 702 a short while back. I'm Charisse Zeifert, Deputy Director of the South African Jewish Board of Deputies, and in this series, I debunk some of the bias that we hear in the mainstream media. And to help me do so, I'm absolutely delighted to have again foreign policy analyst Andrei Swartz. Andrei, welcome, and thanks so much for being with me again.
Charisse, it's really my pleasure and my honor joining you. Thank you so much for inviting me again.
Andrei, you and I both listened to an open line on Clement Manyathela's show a little while back, just as Iran was heating up, Israel and Iran were heating up. Did it sound conspirational to you?
Yes, and look, I don't have much experience with South Africa in general and with South African media. Clement Manyathela, look, I think he's a professional, from what I could hear. I think he knows how to do a bit of investigational analysis, but I think he's out of his depth in regards to the Middle East, clearly based on what I've heard. Although he seems to have quite a bit of foreign affairs experience, and he's been in the US and asked questions at a press conference to President of the United States, Donald Trump now, as I could hear on the show. But look, going back to your question, Sharif, there were some very clear from a couple of people there who called in, very clear anti-Semitic, not only undertones, but very overt allegations and anti-Semitic tropes being used by them from, I think, Dawood and from another caller. And some of it comes from, sadly, from religious incitement, as I would assume is the case of Dawood. Very clearly, he was saying how Jews control Europe, the US, Israel, shockingly, and other parts of the world, and how they conspire to to do all sorts of bad things around the world. And then there were others who were actively giving advice to Iran as to how to attack Israel in such a way as to make sure that the US is split and that they do not support Israel and so on. We also heard from other people who are generally confused about what's going on. And it's no wonder if the people who run the media, the major media shows of South Africa are themselves confused.
Andrea, I kind of also wonder to what extent are those that are phoning in representing broader South Africa and Clement's views? And I think that many South Africans are actually, South Africa doesn't really have a religious problem. We're very respectful of each other's religions, and we're very tolerant with regards to religion because we are a religious country, essentially. But I think Israel has been demonized to the extent that everything it does, irrespective of what it is, bearing in mind that it was attacked on October the 7th, and it needs to protect its citizens, is demonized as everything is almost contorted. It's going out of its way to harm people. It goes out of its way to harm children. It's taking out Iran, not because it's protecting itself, but there's always a evil reason behind it. And I think that's why you're getting those undertones of like, and if Jews support it, Jews must be evil. And I just wondered if like in like a few minutes, just to take the fact that that the entire war is about Israel's defense, and maybe look at when does defense stop being an option, and when I think that might be genuine confusion.
So yes, we hear that, and not only in South Africa, we hear, and we heard it on the Manyathela show as well, from one from one listener caller. Yes, Israel has the Mossad and other intelligence services, and they certainly created the situation where 7th of October was possible so that they could ultimately dismantle Hamas, Hezbollah, etc., and then hit Iran. And I'm not sure if it was the same caller or another saying, well, Jews and Israel are trying to get the US to attack. They've, made the US attack Iraq, Syria, Libya, and Afghanistan. So some of them very confused, but still very conspiratorial. And yeah, they blame everything on the 15 or so million Jews of the world, out of which about 7.2 million live in Israel. Yes, and again, I think, look, unless someone like Manyathela really knows Jews better, one way or another, and knows Israel, they are not going to be able to strike the right balance and to say, look, this is BS, and it makes no sense at all, or to say, hey, you are talking about Afghanistan, it makes absolutely no sense, or someone was suggesting that Israel is trying to expand its borders, etc. Why did Israel give up the Sinai Peninsula, for example, to Egypt, your African neighbor of sorts? The Sinai is about 3 times the size of the current map of Israel. If Israel wanted to expand its territory, they already did that after winning in 67, 73. Why did Israel give back huge amounts of land? Again, 3 times more than Israel holds. Why would you give back this land if your goals were to expand territory? If your goals were to, take over Iran or to take over the oil of Iran with the help of the US, it makes absolutely no sense. Iran is a country which is 80 times larger than Israel. Israel doesn't share a border. Iran has made it so that they currently share a border with Israel, and they try to share a border from surrounding Israel with Hezbollah in Lebanon, with the Shia militias of Iraq, and then entering into Syria with their control there. And then the Shia militias of Iraq were supposed to also take over Jordan and to attack from there. And then Hamas from Gaza and from the Sinai attack from there, plus Iran launching ballistic missiles at the tune of hundreds at the time, or thousands, and then possibly also hitting with nuclear weapons when that was ready. And Kevin Manyathela did a very poor job at researching, and I think he has the capacity to research better, but he has a background which doesn't permit him at this point to do so. He was saying, look, no proof that Iran is, that the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, gave the order to weaponize. No, it contradicts what he said on the show. 60% enrichment means you are ready in a very short space of time to then fit the ballistic missiles with the warheads and to hit. That's basically the weaponization. It sometimes can take, if everything is done covertly, you don't have the exact moment when a message is passed on a piece of paper saying go. So look, on the one hand, on the conspiration theory, on the one hand, Israel is blamed, as we discussed also on your previous show with me. Israel is blamed for not preventing October 7th and willingly doing so. And then on the other hand, people are saying, well, it hit Iran, saying that they do it preemptively, so to stop Iran from hitting with nuclear weapons. But then, it's not true. They don't have any sort of clue whether Iran has decided or not to go nuclear. And they are only using whatever Israel does or does not, Israel is to blame for. So that's what should tell everyone, that the person making these claims is conspiratorial and has has a different agenda behind their conversation on Israel. And some of it you can hear comes from the belief that Israel is a colonial, I think someone said, a colonial project, etc. I'm not sure if it wasn't this Daoud fellow who I would assume again comes from a different background than the majority of South Africans who genuinely do not know what to. They are not taught to hate Jews and Israel, and they simply need better information and opportunities to meet Jews and Israel.
Definitely, and try and understand Zionism as it is intended, i.e., the right of Jews to self-determination in their ancestral land, instead of what it has become, like almost a swear word. So I will tell you a little bit about the South African Jewish community. We are overwhelmingly over 90% Zionistic,
Yeah.
meaning we have some connection to Israel, and that has there's a study to prove it. So,
Yeah.
but I can't. Yeah, we'll leave it at that, Andrei.
Charisse, a pleasure. And look, it's a fight which is it's hard to win the hearts of people who are bombarded from all sides by these tropes. But again, I believe that the majority of South Africans do not come from a bad place on the Jews and on the state of Israel. So I think this is a fight worth fighting. This is why you are doing it, and this is why I've joined you. So good luck to South Africa. Good luck to the Jews of South Africa as well.
Thank you very much. That's Andrei Swartz, a political analyst, sharing his view.